Welcome to the inaugural episode of Good Chill Hunting. How do you like them apples? My name is Josiah.
My name is Noah.
And I'm Riley.
And this is where we talk about movies. It's good, it's chill, it's hunting.
Just like the objective of the podcast is just we, three lifelong friends. We have kind of always liked talking about movies. Everyone likes watching movies, but we just kind of shoot the breeze and feel like we have a lot to say about a lot of different movies. So we thought we would put it into the recorded format, see how it all looks.
We just really want this to be a fun time and just see how it goes, you know? We love movies. Let's talk about them.
And we thought, what better way to, one, just kind of start the podcast off to give the listeners a real taste of who we are, but also for us to be able to reflect on our favorite movies. We thought a great idea for a first episode would be to go to our Letterboxd pages. And Letterboxd, if you're not familiar, this online social media platform for movie watchers. You can leave reviews, make lists, and it's kind of like MySpace where you could like rank your top favorite things or your top friends, and Letterboxd lets you post, kind of pin at the top of your profile your four favorite movies or four movies that you otherwise want to pin at the top of your profile. So we thought it'd be a good idea to just go through those for us, because I think you can learn a lot about someone by knowing what their favorite movies are.
And we've had Letterboxd since 2019, and we've vlogged quite a few movies. But there's some people that probably have already surpassed me this year in the total amount of movies I have watched. So, but it's just I love that. Probably my favorite social media app of all the apps out there.
It keeps me, it makes you more of an active movie watcher. If I don't know, like for us at least, like I only write reviews for myself to be able to look back on and for these two to be able to read. But you know, you just kind of watch a movie and then you got to make some sort of comment on it, leave some sort of review, and it's like it can be as sophisticated or unsophisticated as you want, but it's just a fun little journal almost to look back on. Yeah, you're right. I like it. Feels a little bit less toxic than any other social media platform. Only a little bit.
And we only have like the three of us following each other. Like, who knows if we ever get a lot of followers, that could probably change.
Yeah, we'll see. But before we're diving into that, that's kind of like the main content of this episode. But before we dive in, we want to start every episode just by checking in, seeing what everybody's watching. So I'll turn it over to Noah. Start with him, see just what he's watching, how it's going.
Yeah, so in recent Noah events, my wife and I watched through all 5 Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I'm a big defender of that series. And then most recently, my most recent review, I have Burn After Reading from the Coen brothers. I gave that 3.5 out of 5. It was pretty good. They've got good dialogue and ends in a very Coen brothers fashion. Yeah, Burn After Reading is a kind of a good one from their archive.
I was going to ask, what are your thoughts of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise? You think overall good?
Overall, I'm a big fan of the franchise. You'll probably be hearing more about the first film in a little bit from me, but I think the first 3 films, the original trilogy, so to speak, very good. Those movies, I feel like, have left a bit of a cultural impact. Like Davy Jones, he's probably one of my favorite villains. And then On Stranger Tides and Dead Men Tell No Tales definitely get a lot of flack, and some of it is rightly deserved. But
I just am wondering, because I've not seen those two, and I suppose every Pirates of the Caribbean movie is a Disney movie, but I'm wondering if like the 5th movie, the 4th and 5th especially, get like the Disney treatment. That's kind of what would make me hesitant to watch them. It's just like, do they feel like true installments of the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, or did they do to that what they did to Star Wars with the new trilogy, or like a lot of the MCU, where it just kind of becomes a little bit more CGI, a little bit more colorful, a little bit more over the top.
Do you think without Captain Jack Sparrow, those movies would hold up?
We're just going down a whole rabbit hole right now.
Well, it's just talking.
I mean, I understand.
Answer the question.
Would I want to watch Pirates of the Caribbean movies that don't have Jack Sparrow? Probably not. Do the fourth and fifth movies get the Disney treatment? In a sense, you could argue that, but I think they probably fall flat for a lot of people for reasons other than that, mostly because the original director is not present. I think it's still the original like writing team, but they had to work with an entirely different cast and introduce new characters kind of as they went. So it just doesn't have the same. You don't get that Jack, Will, and Elizabeth banter that you get from the three movies, the three original ones, but I still think they weren't their own existence. I can talk more about them maybe in another episode. Maybe in the Noah Talks About the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise episode.
If people want that.
Record low viewership.
Who wouldn't? That's my thought.
So I've been rewatching. So there's a podcast I really admire, and they talk a lot about Marvel, and it kind of got me in the mood to rewatch Avengers: Infinity War. And then since I watched Avengers: Infinity War, I was like, I gotta watch Endgame. So I watched Endgame, and then I finished it off with Spider-Man: No Way Home. Two of those movies held up to what I remember last time I watched them. The other one did not hold up as well, which kind of crushed my heart a little bit because I really loved that movie in theaters. That was Spider-Man: No Way Home. Kind of just there's flaws, and I know you two have gripes about that movie, which maybe it was rose tinted glasses in the theater watching, but I really enjoyed those theater experiences all three times I saw it. And just when I was at home, I'm like, man, this doesn't hit as hard. And yeah.
Maybe it's not about the movie. Maybe it's about the people that you watch it with. And maybe you're nothing without the people that you watch movies with.
Maybe. But man, Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, they still are really good. I cried watching Endgame when I don't know if like other people get emotional at this part, but when Tony he decides not to help Captain Rogers and Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, and Natasha with like time travel.
Was Captain Rogers Captain America?
Yeah, I don't know why I said that. I said it like that. But he's cleaning the dishes, and he accidentally sprays a picture, and it's of him and Peter, and then that's why he decides to like do the time travel. And then when they're fighting, he just hugs Peter when they come back. And he's like, "This is nice." They just take a moment. I for some reason I just cried. It was just like, this movie's good. So that's what I've been watching. And also, shout out to TV, but I've been watching The Bear season 3, and The Bear's so good. Go watch The Bear. But that's my.
I'm sure it's great.
Yeah, that's my what I've been watching lately.
Last week I watched Christopher Robin. Talk about the Disney treatment. Other people at this table enjoy that movie, and our mother enjoyed the movie, so it's like I don't want to dig at it too much, but at the same time, Ewan McGregor already got done dirty by Disney in Kenobi, and I don't know, I get more and more frustrated the more Disney movies I watch that are just like, it's all the same thing. It's all a character, just like these really hokey life lessons. Everything is really smoothed over. I don't know. I could talk about it more. But then I watched Reservoir Dogs for the first time the other day. That's great, especially for a directorial debut. I don't know. It's just it's very claustrophobic in a sense. It's very like hold your breath. But I would say like above all, it's just Quentin Tarantino's dialogue is just like second to none. It's funny. It's quick. And
you kind of gruesome.
Well, that's for sure. Yeah, it's just like it doesn't feel. It feels like people actually talk that way. It's like it's so. like dialed in, like such specific conversation topics that you're just like, who thinks of this? But at the same time, it's just like, that's everybody. Just like conversations like in Pulp Fiction, just talking about the, what do you call a quarter pounder in England? A Royale with cheese.
Well, isn't in Reservoir Dogs, you got Steve Buscemi, who just like, I don't leave tips.
Yeah, that's like the whole intro scene.
This is my tiny violin.
Yeah, and it was great. Like I have to rewatch his other movies to see where he would rank, but again, for like his first movie, like is really solid right out the gate.
It's one of the best. Who do you think's like the standout in that movie?
I have my opinion. I was telling you a little bit about this earlier, but like Tim Roth, I don't think anybody. I have never thought of him as like a standout actor by any means, but his performance in that movie, I was just like, okay, Tim Roth, I see you. I don't know. I have never given him much thought, especially because he was in The Incredible Hulk, and I don't like The Incredible Hulk as a movie, and so I have held that against him. But in this movie, he was.
What about the hit show Lie to Me?
What's that?
He was in a show where he was a specialist on how to tell people are lying, and the cops like get him on the task force, and now he just like every scene like he gets interrogated, she's like, oh, he twitched his lip, he's lying. And I was like, I'm gonna learn how to be him.
His pants are on fire. He's lying.
Tim Roth, you dog.
So that's what we've been watching, and no better time than the present to pivot.
Paint the picture of who we are and what movies we like.
Get to know us all a little bit better by hearing us just talk openly about our favorite movies, which take shape in the form of our Letterboxd 4 films posted to the top of our Letterboxd profiles.
So, for myself, my 4 movies that I have chosen for my Letterboxd banners include Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl, Sherlock Holmes, directed by Guy Ritchie, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and Lilo and Stitch. Pirates of the Caribbean, I've kind of talked about it already, but the first one is kind of become a timeless classic. I feel like most people would probably agree with that take. Just the setting of colonial Caribbean, it's a whole new world, like there's a lot going on that we don't know about. Seems pretty straightforward at first, and then find out there's this cursed pirates.
I feel like it's like the world building. I don't know, like I was going to say there's other pirate movies, but I don't off the top of my head know of other pirate movies. But just like this one.
National Planet. The Treasure Planet.
Yeah, that one. But yeah, just kind of like you pretty immediately kind of like get a feel of what you're getting yourself into.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the intro with Elizabeth, and then Will gets brought on and they see the Black Pearl in the distance. It's like, ooh, what's going on? Jack Sparrow's introduction is very iconic. With
Remind me what that is. Or like,
are you actually forgetting, or are you just like,
no, I don't.
It does the whole intro with Will and Elizabeth as like grown-ups at Port Royale, and then it just does a cut shot to Jack on like the crow's nest of the mast, and he's leaning up, he's looking at all the like pirates be warned thing, and then his ship just kind of slowly sinks into the harbor.
And while I was thinking, he steps on the dock.
Yeah, it just very seamless. Yeah, it's iconic, and that's our introduction to Jack Sparrow. So yeah, that's really good movie. Barbossa's pretty charismatic as well.
Ghost stories you talk about, Swan. You're in one now. I really like that one. Yeah. I like that line.
And then
you best start believing in ghost stories, Miss Turner. You're in one.
But what is? Yeah, he says, "I failed to acquiesce to your request" or something.
It means no. Yeah. Just I think. I don't know Gore Verbinski a lot as far as his like directorial style, but like just like his like timing and the quips, like kind of after we meet Jack Sparrow and he's on the docks, and like the two soldiers, Murtaugh and Mulroy are their names. the dialogue, his interaction with them leading up to like when Elizabeth falls off the cliff, it's just funny, and it's just like, I don't know, I eat it up, and that the whole franchise is kind of filled with that. But it's just a really good adventure, like lovable characters.
How does it rank in the movies created after Disney World attraction rides? How does it stack up against the Haunted Mansion?
I would have to say better than Haunted Mansion, better than Jungle Cruise. We're just waiting for that live action adaptation of It's a Small World after all, because that one might take the cake.
Do you think, like people say, like, oh, Robert Downey Jr. was born to play Iron Man? Do you think like that's the same thing with Johnny Depp, Captain Jack Sparrow?
I mean, I would have a hard time seeing like somebody's argument against that. I mean, on the one hand, like Jack Sparrow is an original character, whereas Iron Man was already around, but it's hard to see anyone else playing that. Like I feel with like them talking about rebooting the franchise, I read somewhere that like somewhere they were considering Austin Butler to play Jack Sparrow, and he was just like,
Bring me the horizon.
yeah, he made a comment of what I read. He was like, I could not touch that because like that's Johnny's, that's him. So
There is 2 Pirates of the Caribbean movies in development.
in development, quote unquote, like whatever that actually means.
I mean, the franchise has made like over $2 billion, I think.
Right. I know it gets the latter movies get panned, but they made a lot of money. We move on. My next film, Sherlock Holmes, directed by Guy Ritchie. I am a big fan, have become a big fan of Guy Ritchie, and of course, me and everyone else is a big fan of Robert Downey Jr. And it was kind of through this film that I became a fan of Sherlock Holmes. Like since after I watched those movies, I've since gone on to read a lot of like the original Arthur Conan Doyle stories. But Robert Downey Jr., if he wasn't already predestined to play Iron Man, then I'd say he was after that predestined to play Sherlock Holmes. I think he knocks it out of the park. His accent is pretty good from what I can tell. But he embodies the character in a way that probably was not how he was originally portrayed, but in a way that's very
More of a erratic sort of, not super as cerebral as,
but
like the pipe and the duck hat sort of.
deduction. But at the same time, like he embodies those, but yeah, just in a much more like
Rough around the edges, drunk.
yeah, which it's funny because like in the original stories, Sherlock Holmes like did cocaine and stuff.
Well, everybody did cocaine back then.
Yeah. But anyway, he does a really good job. I think Jude Law is like super likable as Dr. John Watson, and their banter, like in the books, like it's more of like Watson following around Holmes, just like writing down notes. But in the movie, they're just really throwing back comments back and forth. Holmes does something, Watson doesn't like it, but he's like, I can't walk away. And then, yeah, we're still friends. So those are good. I love a good like mystery, finding out who done it at the end. The setting of like 19th century London and that movie is just very like, I don't know, gray and like dreary. And I just feel like that sets the tone for Sherlock Holmes. Like it just fits so well. The score for that movie is very fitting. It's very like unique. Lots of like piano, like ding, 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 ding. So yeah, that one. And then Sherlock Holmes, A Game of Shadows. I would probably put that on equal footing as the original. I've just seen the original more.
Yeah, the original has more of like the Blackwood, just like this element of like magic or like supernatural, like, and that is more
unexplainable to Sherlock Holmes.
More kind of engage, or just it asks a lot of questions immediately that really hook you, grab your curiosity.
Yeah, and then Guy Ritchie's, he's got some really good action as well. They turned Sherlock Holmes into an action star, which he never should have been.
Was it discombobulate?
Oh yeah, the Sherlock Holmes vision, I think is what they call it. Those are awesome.
Did he direct the second one, Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, there's apparently a third one, again, quote unquote, in development for like the past 10 years or whatever. That's
They're just sitting on that IP.
Yeah, basically. But the third one, I mean, I don't know if that'll happen, but it's not being directed by Guy Ritchie. It's being directed by
You know the guy.
his name is like, it's like Dax something, not Dax Shepard, but
Prescott, the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
no, probably not him. It's a guy from Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He's in that. Anyway, yeah, Sherlock Holmes. I could watch that movie again and again. And then next up, we do have the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the 2005 movie. Be honest, couldn't tell you who directed it because I don't think he's really gone on to do a lot else. But I've said for many years, and Josiah's we're in the same boat, that like this is a movie we watched as kids, like during the formative years, as opposed to The Lord of the Rings, which were coming out just before these. So where everyone else is like super high on Lord of the Rings, which I still like them, the Chronicles of Narnia is what we had in our household.
It was a little bit more overt Christian themes, which were palatable to our parents who very guarded on what we watched.
Yeah.
But can't thank him enough for it because, I mean, it worked out for us with this movie.
Right. The Chronicles of Narnia, I mean, the first two, the Prince Caspian, I think is good as well. I don't like it probably as much. But The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was, I guess, to say like our introduction to like fantasy as like a genre, like where they're in the countryside of England 1 second, and then they walk through a wardrobe, and now they're in this vast new land that's entirely foreign to them. There's talking beavers, there's centaurs, there's Mr. Tumnus, and it's just really good. The action in that movie, it hasn't aged like super duper well, but the fact that there's like griffins and phoenixes, which again, a lot of people probably got their fix on that from Harry Potter. We got it from Chronicles of Narnia.
And the spin-off PS2 game.
Yeah, we played a lot of the PS2 game. Also don't know how well that's aged. But Tilda Swinton as the White Witch, she does very good. Like the White Witch as a character. Very
Liam Neeson as Aslan.
Yeah, Aslan is the best. And much like the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, which came out right around this time, mid-2000s, the CGI from both those movies looks good. Like Aslan, if you look at him today, like the CGI on that holds up really well.
Compared to the CGI in Thor, Love and Thunder.
Or the CGI in The Flash, which is the worst CGI I've probably seen in a movie.
Yeah, a lot of recent movies.
We didn't know how good we had it back then.
Yeah, but Aslan is very cool. He just has a lot of wisdom bombs that he likes to drop on the Pevensey children. I think
he is because he is Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, and I mean, of course, on that note, like that goes along with how Edmund, who is like, he kind of betrays his family, comes around to like learn from his deeds, but ultimately there's a debt to be paid for what he did. Aslan steps up, i.e. Jesus Christ, and like settles the debt on Edmund's behalf. Like it doesn't drive me to tears like Riley does, but like it does to Riley. But I just have a real soft spot for moments of like grace or like sacrifice within film. I just really like that. And then moving on, my final film is Lilo and Stitch. I think Stitch is a very funny character. The idea of, I feel like when this movie came out, it was a very very big risk for whoever greenlit it, because here's this like totally unknown, like Disney has done established IPs. Here's this totally new character in this new setting of Hawaii with this new art style that they've really never done again.
Like, what do you mean?
the art style.
Lilo and Stitch?
Yeah, the just like character designs. And
I thought you meant more like the animation style.
no, not animation, but yeah, mostly in the characters and setting designs. It's a lot of like watercolors, I believe. And this like protagonist, well, Lilo's probably the protagonist, but Stitch is there too, who's like doesn't talk, but he just kind of grunts. I don't know. It seemed like a big risk, but at the end of it, like it's a story about family, which again, I kind of feel like I have a soft spot for, where Stitch, he just has like the little ugly duckling book, and he's like sitting out in the rain. It's like,
I'm lost.
yeah, I'm lost. Yeah. But, and then it's like another one of those like found family movies, which you got like Guardians of the Galaxy,
Fast and the Furious. Family. Can you hit us with your best Vin Diesel impression real quick, just so people know where you stand?
I don't got friends. I got family.
Yeah, okay.
I don't got friends. I got family.
I am Groot.
I am fast.
Yeah, and then as a kid, like there was like the Lilo and Stitch TV show, and there was I think three follow-up movies. We watched all of those a lot. So that Lilo and Stitch is just kind of more than the other three, just like a comfort movie. Just like I've seen it dozens of times.
It's like colorful.
Well, yeah, it's not 90 minutes long. You can kind of just
Hawaiian roller coaster ride by rest in peace. What's his name? Israel.
the guy who did
Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
that's him.
I'm pretty sure. I'm by on the Hawaiian roller. Yeah,
I think maybe you're just typecasting all Hawaiian people.
I don't think that's the case.
I mean, anyway, it's a good song. But yeah,
Oh wait, he died in 1997.
okay.
Ooh. He.
Did that song come out before the movie?
That's the question of the hour. You can keep talking.
Well, go ahead.
Lilo and Stitch is also coming out with a live action.
Yeah, I don't have any plans to see that.
Yeah. And Greta Gerwig is developing another Chronicles of Narnia series for Netflix.
Yeah, I thought about that.
All your movies have another thing coming out.
I don't expect the Greta Gerwig movies to be that good, and I don't expect the live action Lilo and Stitch to be any good, because the live action Lilo and Stitch is just gonna get the live action Disneyification experience where it just is not gonna have any personality, and the odds are the child actor, I just don't think will probably be as good as the animated version. I can't remember her name.
Her name's Lilo.
The voice actor.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, let the record show that Israel Kamakawi Yole, sorry, did not sing Hawaiian Roller Coaster Ride.
Okay.
He sang Somewhere Over the Rainbow, that I believe was featured on the Lilo and Stitch soundtrack. Maybe in the credits.
Maybe. I would not bet on that. Well, anyway, that's my top 4. If we can shift gears and move on to Rye Guy.
It's me. It's my time. It's my turn. My time to shine. So my 4 Letterboxd movies are Good Will Hunting, The Dark Knight, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and The Matrix. So I'll start off with Good Will Hunting. This movie has been in contention to be my favorite movie for a while now. It's definitely, there's some movies that's taken this place, but it's always returned back to number 1. So this movie has kind of shaped me a lot in a lot of ways. I think the movie has meant a lot to me in different ways too. I am now like becoming a counselor. Like this movie focuses on counseling. I mean, there's so many quotes that I think about daily.
Hit us with one of them right now.
You see every everything going wrong you see every negative thing going wrong in the future. You're too afraid to take a step forward, or how about them apples, or
He's wicked smart.
his whole monologue to Matt Damon on the bench. I think it's Robin Williams' best performance.
Have you seen Flubber?
Have you seen RV?
I haven't actually, so maybe I'll stand
Josh
corrected.
Hutcherson?
Jojo?
Jojo. And I just think what Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote is it's a beautiful movie. And I know a lot of people have gripes about Good Will Hunting, like there's too much cussing, but I feel like it fits kind of like the city of Boston, and kind of just, I don't know, it makes you think. I like the romance between Will and Minnie Driver. So I forget, trying to remember a character's name, but I forget.
I thought you liked the movie.
I do like the movie. But that's my movie, Good Will Hunting.
They should name a podcast after that.
Be a good idea.
I agree. How many times have you seen that? I feel like you are the guy who rewatches movies. If you like it, you watch it 500 times.
I've probably seen it. I know I've seen it probably 5 times at least, maybe more. I haven't seen it in probably a year. I usually try to rewatch it every year, but sometimes I just forget. Sometimes I watch half it and then I just stop. But overall, it's a good movie.
You just have to stop because you're crying so much.
Yes. And just like Robin Williams improvises lines in that movie, like he talks about his wife farting in bed. That line was improvised. Like, it's not your fault. That gets me a lot too.
Was that improvised?
I don't know if that was I don't think that was improvised, but I know the farting line was improvised.
Yeah. Well, that whole story. Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
And then you can see the cameraman shaking because he's laughing too.
Really?
Yeah, during the scene. But the movie, I think that's like a perfect movie. If you can ask, like, what do you think is a perfect movie? I think Good Will Hunting is a perfect movie. My next movie is The Dark Knight, which I know a lot of people have as like some of their favorite movies. If you're asking like comic book superheroes, and also you just like you have up there because of also Heath Ledger, just what of a performance he put in, and we all love superheroes. We all love Spider-Man, Batman, all these things. But The Dark Knight, I also think is approachable for people who are not like superhero lovers like us. Like you can watch it because it's just a good film. It's a good drama, crime, you name it. It's so good. Hans Zimmer puts in that work. I could talk more about scores because I just love them.
What are your thoughts on The Dark Knight Rises?
The Dark Knight Rises. I'm pretty lower on The Dark Knight Rises. I'm a fan of Tom Hardy and Bane, but there's a lot of plot holes. I don't really have a hard time. Like he gets out of the hole, and then the next day or like in that week, somehow with no money or anything, he's back in Gotham. Like he heals his back really quick. I had back issues for a while. You can't heal your back that quick.
Speaking from personal experience,
he just like hangs and the guy cracks his back and he's like, oh, I'm doing push-ups now and crawling out of a hole. You cannot heal your back that fast. And also the like at the very end, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's like the lady's like, you should use your first name. I like it. And he's like, thanks. And it's like, nice to meet you, Robin.
That's on the same level as what's your name? Han. Just Han? Han Solo.
It's so Star Wars. That's one of the worst things Star Wars has done. But it's back to The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan, one of the best directors working today. Like and also that movie has a lot of quotable lines. Either die a hero, live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah, like so many. He's like, where's the Italian? That's like another quotable line. You guys remember that?
I don't think people quote that line.
I do. So
Bowser, when he's trying to get Peach back. Where's the Italian?
It's not about the money. It's about making it. I forget. But The Dark Knight, you guys, I feel like people have talked about this movie ad nauseum on the internet, so that's.
But your thought on Heath Ledger from that movie is that is one of the best examples of acting
Yes.
across the board.
Yes.
Would you be able to tell us a little bit more about that?
I mean, just like his mannerisms throughout the movie. I just recently I saw some behind the scenes like photos of like his journal he kept, and he like would write down the script, and then like just the effort he put into that movie. I mean, I think it literally that performance killed him. I'm pretty sure because he died during filming of that because they couldn't finish it. But if, like I think anybody would agree when they watch that movie, like you see him act and you just like can't take your eyes off him. Like he steals every scene in that movie.
It just doesn't feel like acting almost.
Yes.
You're just like you're watching a real madman or a real, however people describe him, anarchist. Like it like
And I think it's like a different take on the Joker. Like usually before that we thought Joker of like either Jack Nicholson or Mark Hamill in the Batman animated series Joker. I just feel like this is kind of like the anarchist, like you said. Like, it's like a different take on the Joker, which now people say is the best.
I mean, he's not better than Jared Leto.
he doesn't have damaged tattooed on his forehead. Well, else do you know whether or not he's damaged?
What about when he says, "You want to know how I got these scars?"
Well, he didn't. It's not tattooed.
So you're supposed to have a tattoo of maybe a quote on your name?
I don't think Heath Ledger gave us a good honka honka.
Can you give what Heath Ledger and Joker how he would say honka honka?
Honka honka.
But that's The Dark Knight. My next movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So, like I said, we love superheroes. Spider-Man and Batman, two of my favorite superheroes. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse came out in 2019, I believe.
2018.
18. Wow. Like
Big fan.
I guess I am a fake fan, but I saw the trailers and I'm like, this is going to be good. But when I saw the movie, I didn't realize how special it was. And now we have another movie, and Across the Spider-Verse, which some would say, like you say, Sherlock Game of Shadows is just like still like up to par with Sherlock. I would say Across the Spider-Verse is up to par with Into the Spider-Verse. And I think if Beyond the Spider-Verse nails the ending, it's probably would be the best trilogy in my opinion that we have gotten. It will be in contention at least.
Best trilogy
Best Spider-Man trilogy.
or of every movie ever.
Of every movie ever.
That's how
I think it would be at least in contention for you to say that. But Into the Spider-Verse, the story is about Miles and about anyone can wear the mask, but this movie means a lot to me too because I also have a tattoo on it. I don't know if you can see it right here. The leap of faith scene, which a lot of people think the leap of faith scene is the best scene in that movie, which I am kind of contrarian to that. I like that scene a lot, but my favorite scene is when Miles tells Peter P. Parker that it's a leap of faith. Because the whole movie, like Peter P. Parker's teaching Miles, but he's afraid to go back to his universe because he's afraid to mess up with MJ again. And he has to learn that it's a leap of faith. And that touches me. Every time it touches me, that sounds rough. We're gonna take a pause. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, that movie is really good. I can't contain myself after that. But how does Kingpin fit in that vehicle? That's the main
Character
question.
design is inconsistent.
And then, do you guys have anything else to say? No.
I mean, we saw that one in theaters and saw Across the Spider-Verse. Both of those are very memorable movie theater experiences for me. I don't know. I just feel like on top of the movie itself, like seeing it in theaters, and then yeah, I know. I mean, talking about Across the Spider-Verse now, but like get to the end of that movie and I was not aware that it was going to be like part one essentially, and like just like sitting in your seat, just like what, and Into the Spider-Verse kind of. I think the fact that it was. I think it was just like you go see it in theaters because it's a Spider-Man movie. It's just like, oh, let's check it out. It was not on anybody's radar that it was going to land in such a profound and memorable way. So I think there's just a lot of that makes a movie special when it just defies any expectations you have. So
I think also the animation is just some of the best that animation brings
on its own.
and then it's also has inspired other movies.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, like it's
I feel like it's and some games as well. Even like it's that sort of choppy, different frame rates for different characters.
yeah, so good. My last movie on my Letterboxd top 4 is The Matrix. This was probably the first R-rated movie my parents let me watch growing up.
You always remember your first.
I think my first was The Passion of the Christ.
And it still, like, till this day holds a special place in my heart. I think it's my favorite sci-fi movie. I think the action still holds up today.
You think it's better than Star Wars?
I mean, that's a tough, like, if you're comparing the whole Star Wars versus the whole Matrix, I would put Star Wars. But if we're comparing just single movies, The Matrix is in my top 4. I think the action also, like, I'm a big action, karate, hand-to-hand combat guy that I'm still really amazed by the work they did in this movie. Keanu Reeves, one of the best action stars out there. Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith is a great villain. The cast is great. Like Carrie-Anne Moss, Michael Fishburne.
Lawrence.
That's what I meant. Lawrence Fishburne. And and just it's also like trying to think of a word. It's also like the story of the one, which is kind of reminiscent of Jesus, which we love Jesus. So I think that's cool.
Are you comparing Neo to Jesus?
No, I'm not. No. You can scratch that from the record. I'm just saying.
Keanu Reeves is a Christ figure. He's the Messiah.
Yeah, like Aslan and
Aslan.
Yes, in Chronicles of Narnia, he's like a Christ figure, and Neo's like that in the Matrix. Kind of like the one. You guys get what I'm saying, right? I'm not an idiot, right?
Jury's out.
Anyways, you got red pill, blue pill. I know kung fu. Come on, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Spoon bending.
Yeah. He does the Matrix move.
I mean, it's a classic. I mean, the opening scene, even with the Carrie-Anne Moss, and then just the camera 360, is pretty crazy. I mean, that's just like what a start to a movie.
Like the fact that she had to hold herself in that position while the entire camera went all the way around.
No, they had multiple cameras.
Yeah, that was the whole thing. They just set up like camera, so it's just like individual frames, and they just like took pictures of her, so it looked like movement. You were joking, but it was a very innovative shot at the time.
Yes. And that movie was made in 1999, I believe. I could be wrong, like I have been. But the movie still holds up today, I think. And I really wish the sequels would have done better because The Matrix is a great intellectual property that needs to be used well.
Did you watch the new one that came out?
I hated that movie.
When was that? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
Yeah, it might have been 2020. Yeah. It just felt really meta and too much meta. It didn't even bring back Lawrence Fishburne as Morpheus. Just so many I just feel like wasted. I don't even remember a whole lot from that movie besides the guy from Frozen. What's the not Olaf, what's his
Josh Gad?
Yeah, not Josh Gad. Christoph, he's in it. So he was in not Hamlet. I can't think of the
Hamilton?
name. Hamilton, yes. So that's anyways.
Okay.
Let's just wrap it up and be done with Riley's Letterboxd and just move on to
I feel like
Josiah.
I know
Okay.
you a little bit better because we heard about your favorite movies. So my 4 favorite films I have posted on my Letterboxd are The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, Interstellar, National Treasure, and The Princess Bride. So, first one, Secret Life of Walter Mitty. I've gone on the record in many other recordings and videos saying that this is my favorite movie. It was not my favorite movie when I first saw it because we watched it as a family. It came out in 2013. I think we probably watched it in 2016, and it was a good movie. It was like, fun. But then I just remember a few years later, I just was like, I was reflecting on the movie and I popped in my head. I was just like, I just really want to check that movie out again. Like, something about it was calling me back, if you will. And I watched it again, and yeah, I think ever since then it's been a very special movie for me. I think the character of Walter Mitty is very familiar to me. Not that I really love making myself the main character and saying that I'm just like the main character, but I do feel like you have this really timid, soft-spoken character, and he's just kind of going through the motions of life, but he lives kind of in this fantasy world, and he longs for adventure, and then he takes steps of courage to go on adventure, and that adventure takes him to exotic place. I mean, like Greenland. I would love to go to Greenland someday, or Iceland, but Greenland would be my first choice. And he just goes to other places, steps out of his comfort zone. I don't know. And then he just kind of finds this self-confidence that is very touching for me. And then the climactic lines of the movie, he's sitting there with Sean Penn's character. They're photographing the snow leopard, and Sean Penn, he doesn't he has the opportunity to take a picture of the lion or the leopard, but he doesn't. And he's just like, beautiful things don't ask for attention. I'm just like, well, goosebumps. It's just it's very true. It's very very nice, quaint little line. But anyway, so
That's why I never ask people to look at me.
You just asked me to take a picture of you earlier, like an hour ago.
put it on your MySpace page.
I don't think that happened.
You're like, do I look good in this shot?
Can I take a picture of you? I was like, I don't ask for attention.
But I don't know, like the music in it, like the outro song. I believe it's the outro song by Jose Gonzalez. Very great song. The color, like the cinematography and the coloring in the movie, I just have really grown to appreciate. Like, that's not always something that you necessarily take note of, but that I like Ben Stiller as an actor and as a director. I don't know. A movie just feels like it's just like this good fit, and for me, it's just like Secret Life of Walter Mitty is just this good fit. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think I just gotta watch it sometime. I still haven't watched it.
Yeah, I mean that would be, but maybe on the other hand, like I want to gatekeep the movie. Like it's I like it, so like.
Do you think gatekeeping is a good thing?
It's good for me.
What do you think?
I've seen the movie, so
He's inside the gate. It's pretty good. You're outside. Can't really tell you.
And I hate to be on the outside of things.
and it kind of stinks, doesn't it? But them's the rules.
But yeah, I mean, I would encourage you to watch it because it's good. Like I don't think it won any awards.
But beautiful things don't ask for attention.
Exactly. And like, what else is there to say? So I like that's a movie that I've seen 5-6 times. So that's my numero uno. The next movie on my list was Interstellar. We already talked about Christopher Nolan, but not just as a director, but as a kind of bearer of the torch of filmmaking. I think he just takes his filmmaking so. He's not Michael Bay. He's not another director, maybe someone else has an example they could provide. Just like, yeah, Michael Bay is Michael Bay is low hanging fruit. But I don't know. I just feel like Christopher Nolan, he makes good movies, but he's always like pushing the boundaries of like what it means to make a good movie. He was like a real big proponent of keeping movie theaters or bringing movies back into theaters after COVID. And so I just have a deep appreciation for him as a creator. But Interstellar, like, it's just what a monumental movie. I don't know, like you feel the scale of it while you're watching it. It's re-releasing in theaters at the end of this year. Yeah. We're hoping to see it because I feel like it does kind of necessitate this like larger than life screen to watch it on.
Murph. I love you, Murph.
Is that Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah.
I could tell.
Yeah, I know.
Can I get your best Casey Affleck impression?
Dad,
Ben,
Dad, the dust is getting too bad. We gotta get
Dad, Ben Affleck.
My son Timothy Chalamet has to get out of here.
Is that Matthew McConaughey or Casey Affleck?
That's Casey Affleck.
Isn't Timothy Chalamet Casey Affleck?
There's a lot of time jumps. What?
I don't know. I thought you'd seen this movie.
Is it? I mean, how the tables have turned. Awkward.
And so, but it's just, I don't know, like, yeah, the music is obviously iconic. I just feel like the No Time for Caution, that is just like on every best scores playlist.
I think what's Cornfields?
It's cone. But
Yellow juice knobs.
yeah,
It has a juice. It has a juice.
like I don't know, it's another kind of sort of ineffable, just like you're just kind of along for this crazy, I don't know, ride, different planets through time and space, through this alternate timeline into a black hole. It's just like you feel like you get wrapped up into something as big as life itself, if I can get a little metaphorical on you.
Well, yeah, and it's one of those movies where you don't, at least personally, I don't know entirely what's going on all the time. Like where he's like communicating to his daughter through time, through the bookshelf. It's like, it's touching because it's like you clearly feel the weight of his character, like in what he's going through. But at the same time, I'm just like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
How did we get to this point?
And I think that kind of is the mark of a truly skilled filmmaker, is to be so that you can like still feel deeply for this character and you can put yourself in that character's position, even though you don't necessarily know what's going on, even though you can't entirely grasp how things are working together the way they are, you can still feel what's going on. Because I think a lot of movies try that and fail, but Interstellar succeeds. It's a classic.
Would you say Christopher Nolan has the juice?
I can't imagine a more beautiful thing. Next movie on the list is National Treasure. This would be one of my comfort movies. Like, this is a movie that in our house we watched all the time growing up. I mean, we saw it in theaters. I was looking at the IMDb page. It was not well received. It was like 40, like Metacritic score. It's the same with the second one. And it's like, I am truly not, I don't know where those, because it just says just like, it's whatever, it's forgettable, it's convoluted. I don't know. It just, again, it's like the score is iconic for us.
I think the adventure of it all, and the deep dive into U.S. history, and maybe I'm sure like people would say like, oh, it's just, I don't know, throwing buzzwords out there, and it's trying to make you feel really smart when in reality it's not that convoluted. Yeah. But
I mean, stealing the Declaration of Independence is probably not as easy as Nicolas Cage makes it look. But
it might be.
I've never tried it. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Yes, just this adventure. Yeah, I think treasure hunting is a very exciting plot or like storyline if you can do it well. And I would argue that it does it really well. It like incorporates further back history with like the Freemasons, more like modern U.S. history. And then they like go to all these different locations, and I don't like it feels. And again, maybe that's just like nostalgia blinders, but like the story feels coherent in my like you can kind of explain it if you've seen it a time or two. So I don't like and so for me it's just like the lines, the Riley Poole getting to the vault and just being like stairs makes me emotional every time I hear it.
I mean, I think it's critics probably don't know what fun is if they gave that 40% because it's a fun movie.
Critics are just creators who never made it. That's what I've heard. Just like this idea that you kind of almost have to be cynical to be a critic, which is maybe a cynical view on its own. But so anyway, National Treasure, it's just like super nostalgic, super fun. You just kind of put it on whenever, have it going on in the background, or you're like totally dialed in. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's just a super fun movie. Diane Kruger, she's a babe. And I don't know what else you want me to say.
I think that's good. I think it's great. You did a good job.
What are our thoughts on the sequel? And then maybe the Disney Plus show?
What's on page 27? I don't know.
Sequel is great. Sequel is not. It is an excellent follow-up to the first movie.
In the first movie, they steal the Declaration of Independence. The second movie, he kidnaps the president.
It captures the spirit of the first movie and kind of just rewrites some of the settings and the clearing his name from the Abraham Lincoln murders and everything. So it's like it still sticks to a lot of that history and adventure, but just with more John Voight.
You can't go wrong with Ed Harris.
He plays a great villain.
Then John Voight's like, "It's just another clue, Ben. Nah, that's not."
You walk in the gosh dang room, Ben.
Declaration of Independence.
Yeah. So the second one's great. Disney Plus show is not worth the toilet paper I used to wipe my butt. That's my opinion. I've actually not seen it. It could be great, but I don't know anything about it, and I won't because I won't watch it.
It's on Disney Plus, and I don't like Disney Plus.
Yeah. All right. I will speed run this last entry. The last movie on my Letterboxd top 4 is The Princess Bride. The first time I watched this movie, our youth group was getting together, and we were going to watch The Hobbit because that had just recently come out. And everybody, just people who didn't normally come, like our older brother Sam, he just was showing up because he was really excited to watch The Hobbit. And then we got there, and The Hobbit was a little too graphic for a youth group movie night. So last minute, everybody who was informed otherwise got to watch Princess Bride instead. And I mean, at the time, I probably didn't think too highly of it. I was probably more excited for The Hobbit, but came to light that was our mother's favorite movie, is one of our mother's favorite movies. And I don't know, that factoid has kind of sat with me when I rewatched the movie, saw it in a sort of a different way, just seeing it as this movie that really doesn't take itself too seriously. It's really just this quintessential fairy tale with really fun, iconic, lovable characters. Inigo Montoya is like one of my favorite fictional characters.
What's Andre the Giant?
Vizik.
I just like how I think it happens several times during the movie. He just goes up to a character and it's just bonk. Knocks him out.
Yeah. And then like the whole, or maybe Vizik, I don't remember the names, is never make a deal with a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, morons.
That scene is great. It's just, I don't know, Carrie Elwes's character, Prince Wesley, is just really just a likable guy. And I don't know, just
as you wish.
Yeah. And so I'm just like fun characters, different locations, fantasy, but also romance, all kind of with I mean, it's that story or being told through the lens of a grandfather telling the story to his grandson, and that's heartfelt in its own way. I don't know. Like, it's one of those movies that doesn't. I feel like I can't explain, or it doesn't require too much explanation. It's just a likable movie. That's our Letterboxd 4 favorite movies.
I think you both have great 4 picks, even though I haven't seen one of them. I think you both did a great
I've seen
job.
all of your movies.
Does that make me less of a friend and a person?
Yeah.
Hmm.
And I just wondered because we were just talking earlier about Letterboxd movies, movies you've logged on Letterboxd, and you've rewatched movies like over 80 times. And I'm just wondering if maybe that number could be 79, and you could just maybe step outside your comfort zone and watch a movie that you've not seen before.
That you probably like.
Maybe I'm waiting for the friend who loves this movie to be like, hey, you want to watch this movie with me? Maybe I'm waiting for that.
I wonder if that'll ever happen.
Doubt it.
Probably not. Maybe beautiful things don't ask for attention.
That's true. I would appreciate that more if I've seen the movie.
Yeah, that's right.
But to go off of our 4 favorite movies, we are going to end each episode with a trivia segment. And the theme of this week is our Letterboxd movies.
All right. And so how this segment works is one of the 3 of us, and this week it's Riley, comes up with 3, I believe.
Yeah, I have 3, but we have a tie. I have a bonus question just in case.
3 to 4 trivia questions based off the category of their choosing, and then
I did it. I think I did it. So the first question's easy, second question's medium difficulty, and the third one's hard.
are we like competing? Like it's like Jeopardy? Like we got to buzz in, or is it just kind of like give us a second to think about the answer?
We do buzz in. If you say your name, you say your name, and then that's your buzz in. How about that?
I have to say my name before I can say the answer.
It's your buzz in.
Can we just make a buzz sound?
Sure.
Me. Me.
Okay.
Okay, well we'll try that.
So the theme of this week is our Letterboxd movies. So question 1 is easy. Does Neo take the red or blue pill to go to the real world?
The red pill?
That is correct.
Oh.
1 point to Josiah. Question number 2, medium. Fred Savage plays the grandson in The Princess Bride, but he also stars in this Marvel movie.
Deadpool 2.
That is correct.
Dang. Who does he play in Deadpool 2?
Himself. Yeah. They re-released Deadpool 2 with like a Princess Bride like reenactment. Once Upon a Deadpool, I believe. Yeah.
So question 3, this is hard, which I hope it's hard. What was the ship called in the beginning of National Treasure that the secret lies?
The secret lies with Charlotte.
Correct. And your winner of this episode is Josiah.
Let's go.
Well, I'm curious what the bonus question is.
Bonus is Tilda Swinton, who plays the White Witch, won an Oscar for Best Supporting Actress for a different movie. But what other star in the Chronicles of Narnia has won an Oscar?
Me, Liam Neeson?
Incorrect. He was nominated.
Me. James McAvoy.
Incorrect.
Was it Michael Madsen?
Incorrect.
Professor, I can't think of his name. Is it him?
It's Jim Broadbent. Which
Yes, yeah, the professor.
Yeah, really?
that he won a Best Supporting Actor role.
Wow, interesting.
And that is the trivia for this week's episode, or this episode.
All right. I think we're not going to go based off who wins. We're just going to take turns. So anyway, I'm up for trivia next week. And so we're going to tease next week's trivia this week. But the trivia for next week is Best Picture winners. So start studying now.
It's on, Noah.
I say it's on like Donkey Kong.
All right. But on that note,
Thanks for watching or listening.
thank you for listening to this first episode of Good Chill Hunting.
How do you like them apples?
Hope you enjoyed. Let us know what, if you use Letterboxd, what your favorite movies are. And if you don't use Letterboxd,
Why?
get on that. Follow us.
Come on.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Didn't really practice an outro.
Bye.
Bye.